Have you ever been in a situation where you knew what you wanted to say, but the words just didn't come out right? Maybe you froze during a presentation, stumbled in a conversation, or felt nervous speaking in front of others. The truth is, communication is a skill, not a talent. And anyone can learn to speak clearly, think quickly, and express ideas with confidence. In this audiobook, you'll discover simple techniques that help you respond faster, speak smarter, and communicate with ease in daily life. You'll learn how to stay calm under pressure, think on your feet, and express your thoughts in a way people understand and respect. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more helpful content that will sharpen your skills and boost your confidence. Now, let's start your journey to thinking fast and talking smart. Chapter 1. The foundation of smart communication. Communication is something we do every single day. We talk to friends, family, teachers, co-workers, and even strangers. Most of the time we do it without thinking. We speak fast, react quickly, and respond on instinct. But smart communication is different. Smart communication means thinking before speaking. It means choosing words that create clarity instead of confusion. It means expressing ideas in a simple way that others can understand. Smart communication begins with one simple idea. You need to know what you want to say before you say it. Many people speak first and think later. This leads to mistakes, misunderstandings, and regret. When you think before you speak, you give yourself a chance to organize your thoughts. You give yourself a chance to make a good impression. You give yourself a chance to stay calm and confident. One of the most important things in smart communication is clarity. Clarity means your message is easy to understand. It means that the listener knows exactly what you want to say. You do not need big words or fancy language. In fact, simple language is often the strongest. Simple words reach more people. Simple words help you avoid confusion. Simple words allow you to communicate faster and smarter. Clarity is built on structure. Structure means having a beginning, middle, and end to your message. It means not jumping all over the place. When you structure your thoughts, you guide the listener step by step. You help them follow your thinking. Many strong communicators do not speak more, they speak better. They speak clearly. They speak with intention. Another key part of smart communication is listening. Many people think communication is only about speaking, but speaking is only half of the process. Listening is the other half. Listening helps you understand what the other person wants. It helps you hear their concerns. It helps you ask better questions. When you listen, you gain knowledge. When you listen, you show respect. When you listen, you build trust. Good listening means paying attention. It means putting down your phone. It means making eye contact. It means being present. When you listen fully, you learn more. When you learn more, you can respond better. People appreciate being heard. They appreciate when someone listens without interrupting. Listening makes you a better speaker because it gives you more information to work with. Another part of smart communication is confidence. Confidence is not about speaking loudly or trying to dominate a conversation. Confidence is about being comfortable with your ideas. Confidence is about believing in what you say. When you feel confident, your voice becomes steady. Your tone becomes calm. Your words become clear. Confidence helps you think faster and speak smarter. Confidence comes from preparation. Preparation means knowing your topic. It means practicing. It means being ready. When you prepare, you reduce anxiety. You reduce hesitation. You reduce fear. Preparation gives you control. It allows you to stay focused even when things go wrong. Smart communication also requires awareness. Awareness helps you understand the situation you are in. You adjust your tone depending on who you are speaking to. You may speak differently to a teacher than to a friend. You may speak differently to a boss than to a family member. Awareness helps you choose the right words. Awareness helps you respond to emotions. Awareness helps you avoid conflict. Awareness also means understanding body language. Body language speaks as loudly as words. Your posture, facial expressions, and gestures send messages. If your words are confident but your body looks nervous, people notice. If you speak calmly but avoid eye contact, people notice. Smart communication is not just about what you say. It is also about how you say it. Smart communication requires self-control. When emotions run high, communication becomes harder. People say things they do not mean. They speak too quickly. They react instead of respond. Self-control helps you slow down. It helps you choose your words wisely. It helps you avoid arguments. When you feel angry, take a breath. When you feel nervous, pause. When you feel overwhelmed, step back. These small actions give your brain time to think. They help you stay calm. They help you avoid mistakes. Control is a powerful tool. It allows you to stay strong even when others lose patience. Smart communication is also about understanding your audience. You must think about what the listener knows, what they want, and what they need. If you speak in a way they do not understand, your message will fail. If you use terms they are not familiar with, they will get confused. Smart communicators adjust their language, they adjust their examples, they adjust their tone. For example, imagine explaining a phone to a young child. You would use simple words. You would give short explanations. You would avoid complex details. Now imagine explaining the same phone to an engineer. You might talk about features, systems, and technology. The message changes based on the listener. That is smart communication. Another part of smart communication is timing. Timing means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Sometimes silence is more powerful than words. Silence gives space for others to think. Silence shows patience. Silence creates respect. When you speak without timing, you interrupt, you rush, you miss opportunities. Smart communicators think about timing. Timing also applies to conversations under pressure. When someone is emotional, angry, or upset, speaking too quickly can make things worse. The smart communicator waits for the right moment. They respond with care, they keep calm, they do not try to win. They try to understand. Smart communication also requires practice. You cannot become a great communicator overnight. You must learn from experience. You must learn from mistakes. You must learn by speaking in different situations. The more you practice, the faster you think. The more you practice, the smarter you speak. Practice can be simple. Practice by speaking to friends. Practice by talking to yourself in the mirror. Practice by reading out loud. Practice by joining clubs or groups. Practice by recording your voice and listening. Practice by asking for feedback. Every small effort makes you better. Smart communication also includes patience. Many communication failures happen because people rush. They rush to speak. They rush to respond. They rush to defend themselves. Patience helps you avoid rushing. Patience helps you think clearly. Patience helps you remain calm. Smart communication also involves empathy. Empathy means understanding how others feel. When you understand their emotions, you communicate with greater care. Empathy builds trust. Empathy shows respect. Empathy creates stronger connections. When a person feels tired, angry, or sad, empathy helps you adjust your approach. When someone is excited, happy, or eager, empathy helps you match their energy. Empathy is the heart of smart communication. Smart communication also relies on questions. Asking questions helps you learn more. It helps you avoid assumptions. It helps you understand the other person. Questions show curiosity. Questions show respect. Questions help you guide conversations. Smart communication is also about simplicity. Many people think speaking smart means using complex words, but complexity weakens your message. Simplicity strengthens it. Simple messages travel faster. Simple messages stick longer. Simple messages influence more. Smart communication also includes controlling speed. Speak too fast and you confuse people. Speak too slow and you lose attention. Smart communication means adjusting your speed. Smart communication also includes tone. Tone changes meaning. The same words can sound rude or kind depending on tone. Smart communicators contour tone. Smart communication is about respect. Respect builds trust. Respect opens minds. Respect strengthens relationships. Smart communication is about calmness. Calmness keeps your mind clear. Calmness prevents mistakes. Calmness allows better judgment. Smart communication is about clarity, confidence, awareness, listening, empathy, timing, patience, simplicity, and practice. Smart communication helps you build relationships. It helps you get opportunities. It helps you avoid conflict. It helps you inspire others. Smart communication is a lifelong skill. You learn it, you practice it, you improve it. The foundation of smart communication begins with understanding yourself. Once you understand yourself, you learn to understand others. Once you understand others, communication becomes easier. Think fast, talk smart, but always communicate with clarity, respect, and purpose. Chapter 2. Thinking clearly under pressure. Thinking clearly under pressure is one of the most important parts of smart communication. Anyone can speak well when things are calm, but real skill shows when the moment is tense, when the question is unexpected, when emotions are high, when the stakes feel important. That is when clear thinking matters most. Pressure affects everyone. Your heart beats faster, your breathing speeds up, your mind feels crowded. You may forget things you know. You may feel the urge to rush. You may worry about being judged. These reactions are normal, but reacting is not the same as responding. Thinking clearly allows you to respond, not react. Clear thinking begins with staying calm. Calm does not mean you ignore the problem. It means you control your response. When you remain calm, you give yourself the space to think. You avoid panic. You avoid rushing. You avoid mistakes. Staying calm is a skill. It gets easier with practice. One way to stay calm is to breathe slowly. Slow breathing sends a message to your brain that you are safe. It reduces stress. It slows your heart rate. It clears your mind. When your mind is clear, you think faster and smarter. Another part of thinking clearly is staying present. Pressure often comes from fear of the future. We worry about what might happen. We imagine negative outcomes. We focus on what could go wrong, but smart communication requires attention to the moment. To think clearly, you need to focus on now, on the words being spoken, on the question being asked, on the environment around you. Staying present helps you avoid confusion. It helps you process information. It helps you answer accurately. It helps you notice details. People who think clearly are not distracted by fear or panic. They focus on what matters. Another part of clear thinking under pressure is preparation. The more prepared you are, the easier it is to stay calm. Preparation builds confidence. If you know your topic, you are less likely to freeze. If you practice, you are less likely to forget. Preparation gives you tools to rely on. When pressure rises, think of athletes. They practice thousands of times before a game. They train so much that their actions become automatic. When pressure comes, they rely on training. The same is true for communication. The more you prepare, the more automatic your skills become. Preparation does not mean memorizing exact words. It means understanding your ideas. When you understand a topic deeply, you can explain it in many ways. You can adjust your words. You can respond to questions. You can think on your feet. Another key part of pressure communication is clarity. Pressure can make you talk too fast. It can make you ramble. It can make you add extra words to fill silence. But silence is not your enemy. You can pause. A pause is not a mistake. A pause is a tool. It gives you time to think. It gives others time to listen. It keeps you in control. Clear thinking, under pressure, also relies on removing clutter from your mind. When pressure hits, your brain fills with noise, thoughts jump around, doubts appear. You worry about others' opinions, you worry about failure, you worry about mistakes. You must learn to push away this noise. You focus on the task, you focus on the message, you focus on the goal. The less you worry about what others think, the more clearly you think. One way to do this is to ask yourself one simple question. What is the main point I need to say right now? This keeps you focused. It keeps you on track. It prevents overthinking. Clear thinking also means choosing the right pace. Pressure makes many people rush. They speak too fast. They skip words. They lose control. But speaking slowly under pressure helps you think. It helps the listener understand. Slow speech is not weakness. It is strength. It shows control. You can train your pace by practicing aloud. You can record yourself. You can practice reading slowly. You can practice answering questions with calm, slow tone. Pressure also causes self-doubt. You may question your abilities. You may think someone else is smarter. You may believe your answer is wrong. Self-doubt destroys clear thinking. Confidence builds it. Confidence does not mean arrogance. It means trust in your ability to think. It means believing you can respond. It means knowing your thoughts have value. Another part of thinking clearly is staying logical. Under pressure, people often jump to emotion. They speak based on anger or fear. But logic helps you stay grounded. Logic breaks a problem into smaller pieces. It helps you evaluate. It helps you form a response that makes sense. For example, if someone challenges your opinion, your first reaction might be defensive. You may want to argue, but a logical thinker pauses. They ask questions. They listen. They analyze. They respond with clarity instead of emotion. Pressure communication also requires focus on the goal, not the moment. The moment may feel stressful, but the goal is to communicate clearly. The goal is not to win an argument. The goal is not to impress. The goal is to express. Sometimes pressure comes from the environment. Maybe many people are watching. Maybe a powerful person is listening. Maybe the conversation is unexpected. But the environment does not change the goal. The goal stays the same. Thinking clearly also means being honest. When you don't know something, it is okay to say so. Honesty removes pressure. Pretending to know creates more stress. Honesty builds trust. Trust helps communication flow smoothly. Thinking clearly also requires mental flexibility. Pressure situations can change quickly. Questions can shift. Topics can change. Tone can shift from friendly to serious. Flexible thinkers adjust. They stay aware. They adapt. Pressure also tests emotional control. Someone may criticize you. Someone may challenge you. Someone may misunderstand you. Clear thinking requires emotional balance. You cannot allow criticism to shake you. Thinking clearly is also helped by experience. The more you speak under pressure, the easier it becomes. Public speaking becomes easier with practice. Answering questions becomes easier with practice. Communication becomes easier when you face pressure again and again. Think of the first time you tried something new. It felt scary. It felt uncomfortable. But after doing it many times, it became normal. Pressure communication is the same. Thinking clearly also depends on expectations. You must accept that pressure is normal. Pressure is part of life. You cannot avoid it, but you can train for it. You can improve how you react. Another way to think clearly is to simplify the situation. Pressure makes things feel huge, but the situation may be smaller than it feels. One question, one answer, one moment. You can remind yourself, this is not permanent. This is not life or death. This is only a moment. Another important part is listening. When you listen carefully, You think clearly. Pressure makes many people stop listening. They focus on their own response. They miss details. They misunderstand. Listening gives your brain real information. Listening prevents assumptions. Listening reduces confusion. Thinking clearly also means understanding the perspective of the other person. What do they want? What are they feeling? What are they aiming? When you understand this, your response becomes smarter. Pressure may feel personal, but communication is not personal. It is an exchange. It is a process. Thinking clearly also improves decision-making. When pressure hits, you may feel rushed to decide, but clear thinking slows you down, just enough to choose wisely. Clear thinking under pressure helps you avoid saying things you regret. It helps you stay respectful. It helps you stay professional. And clear thinking builds your reputation. People trust calm communicators. People listen to calm communicators. People follow calm communicators. Thinking clearly under pressure is not about being fearless. It is about acting despite fear. It is about controlling your response. It is about staying present. It is about staying focused. Anyone can learn this skill. With practice, with patience, with preparation, with awareness. Pressure is common in life. Interviews, presentations, arguments, surprise questions, tough decisions. When pressure comes, you can freeze, or you can think. The choice is yours. Thinking clearly under pressure gives you power. It lets you control the moment. It lets you express yourself. It lets you stay still. Smart communication is not about perfect words. It is about calm thinking, clear purpose, simple expression. When pressure rises, the smart communicator breathes, thinks, pauses, and then speaks. That is how you think fast. That is how you talk smart. Chapter 3: Building confidence in your voice. Confidence in communication does not come from being perfect. It comes from believing that your voice matters. It comes from trusting your ideas. It comes from knowing that you can express yourself, even if you feel nervous. Many people think confidence is something you are born with, but confidence is a skill. You can build it. You can grow it. You can strengthen it. Confidence begins with self-belief. If you think your ideas are weak, you will speak weakly. If you think your thoughts are foolish, you will stay silent. If you believe others are always smarter, you will fear speaking. But when you believe in yourself, your voice becomes stronger. You speak with purpose. You speak with clarity. Building confidence takes time. It does not happen overnight. You do not wake up one day and suddenly feel brave. Confidence grows through small actions. It grows every time you speak up. It grows every time you express an idea. It grows every time you push yourself to communicate. Many people fear mistakes. They think mistakes make them look stupid. They think mistakes make others judge them. But mistakes are normal. Every speaker makes mistakes. Every leader makes mistakes. Every expert has made many mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. When you accept this, your fear begins to shrink. Confidence also grows through preparation. When you prepare, you feel ready. When you know what you want to say, you don't panic. When you take time to think, you avoid confusion. Preparation is like building a foundation. It holds you steady. It supports you when pressure rises. One way to prepare is to practice speaking out loud. Practice with a friend. Practice alone. Practice in front of a mirror. The more you hear your own voice, the more comfortable you become. 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 Another part of building confidence is accepting nervousness. Many people think confidence means you never feel nervous, but that is not true. Confidence means you can feel nervous and still speak. You do not let fear control you. You do not hide. You move forward. You express yourself anyway. Your body plays a big role in confidence. The way you stand affects how you feel. When you stand tall, you feel stronger. When you stand straight, you feel more alert. When you lift your head, you feel more sure. Body language affects the mind. Body language affects your voice. Eye contact also builds confidence. When you avoid eye contact, you look unsure. When you make eye contact, you show belief in your words. You show respect. You show courage. Eye contact makes communication stronger. Your voice tone is another tool. A shaky tone can make you feel weaker. A steady tone can make you feel confident. You do not need to be loud, you just need to be clear. You need to control your pace. You need to breathe. Breathing is important for confidence. When you breathe calmly, your voice becomes steady. When you rush your breathing, your voice becomes tight. You can lose control. Slow, deep breaths give you power. They give you time to think. They help you stay calm. Self-doubt is the biggest enemy of confidence. Doubt tells you to stay quiet. Doubt tells you that others are judging you. Doubt tells you that your voice is not important, but doubt is a liar. Doubt exaggerates fear. Doubt steals your courage. To fight doubt, you need proof. You need to remember moments when you communicated well. You need to remember times when you spoke clearly. You need to remember times when your words mattered. These memories build confidence. Imagine a future version of yourself who speaks confidently. Imagine a version of yourself who answers questions calmly. Imagine a version of yourself who leads discussions. Imagination trains your mind. When your mind sees confidence, your body begins to follow. Confidence also comes from knowledge. When you know your subject, you feel strong. When you understand a topic, you can explain it. When you have facts, you feel secure. Knowledge gives you courage, but knowledge alone is not enough. You also need experience. You need real moments. You need practice with real people. You need to communicate in real conversations. Start with small steps. Speak up in a small group. Ask a question. Share an idea. Raise your hand in class. These small actions build confidence. Step by step, day by day, learn to accept compliments. Many people reject praise. They say it was luck. They say it was nothing. They say they do not deserve it. But accepting praise builds confidence. When someone says you spoke well, believe it. When someone thanks you for your words, appreciate it. Confidence also requires facing fear. You cannot grow confidence while avoiding your fears. You must do the thing that scares you. You must take the risk. You must allow discomfort. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in courage. Sometimes confidence requires silence. Silence shows control. Silence shows thought. Silence shows patience. When you pause before speaking, you demonstrate confidence. Another part of confidence is authenticity. Authentic communication means being yourself. It means speaking in your own style. It means using your real voice. When you try to copy others, you feel fake. When you try to impress, you lose clarity. But when you speak as yourself, your confidence rises. Be honest. Admit when you do not know something. Admit when you need to think. Admit when you made a mistake. Honesty builds trust. Trust builds confidence. Confidence also grows when you accept that some people will disagree with you. That is normal. You cannot please everyone. You cannot make everyone agree. But disagreement does not mean your thoughts have no value. Respectful disagreement is part of communication. When someone disagrees, you do not panic. You listen, you clarify, you explain, you stay calm. You also need resilience. Resilience means you keep trying even after failure. It means you speak again even after embarrassment. It means you keep learning. Look at public speakers. Look at leaders. Look at teachers. Look at performers. Most of them were nervous beginners. Most of them had shaky voices at first, but they kept going. Their confidence grew with experience. Yours will too. Confidence rises when you stop comparing yourself to others. When you compare, You lose sight of your own progress. You ignore your strengths. You weaken your voice. Instead, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Are you improving? Are you speaking more? Are you learning? That is what matters. Confidence also grows from patience. You cannot rush it. You cannot force it. Confidence builds slowly. It builds through experience, practice, and courage. You will feel nervous many times. That is okay. You will make mistakes. That is okay. You will speak imperfectly. That is okay. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is the goal. Every time you speak, you grow. Every time you listen, you grow. Every time you express yourself, you grow. Confidence is not about volume. It is not about shouting. It is not about dominating. Confidence is quiet strength. It is controlled clarity. It is belief in your voice. When you believe in your voice, others begin to believe in it too. When you show confidence, others listen. When you show confidence, others respect your ideas. Your communication journey will have highs and lows. Some days you will speak well. Some days you will struggle, but both days teach you. Both days shape you. Confidence is built through practice, but it is also built through forgiveness. Forgive your mistakes. Forgive your fears. Forgive your failures. You are learning. You are growing. You are building a voice. Confidence begins inside, but its results appear outside, in your tone, in your posture, in your words, in the way others respond to you. Do not wait to feel confident before you speak. Speak, and confidence will follow. Confidence is not a finish line. It is a journey, a lifelong journey. A journey you can choose to begin today, with patience, with practice, with belief. Your voice has value. Your voice has power. Your voice deserves to be heard. And the more you use it, the more confident it becomes. Chapter 4: The Art of Listening. Listening is one of the most powerful communication skills. Many people believe talking is the most important part of communication. They think strong communicators speak a lot, but that is not true. Strong communicators listen more than they speak. Listening is the key to understanding others. It is the key to smart responses. It is the key to trust. Listening is not just hearing sounds. Listening is paying attention. Listening is caring about the message. Listening is trying to understand another person's thoughts, feelings, and intentions. When you listen, you learn. When you listen, you grow. When you listen, you build relationships. Most people listen to reply. They do not listen to understand. While someone else is talking, they are already planning what they will say. Their mind is not focused. Their ears are open, but their attention is closed. That is not real listening. Real listening means silence. Real listening means you stop thinking about your reply. Real listening means you focus fully on the speaker. You give them your attention. You give them respect. You give them the space to speak. Listening also requires patience. Some people speak slowly. Some struggle to express their ideas. Some need more time. Impatient listeners interrupt. They rush others. They try to finish sentences. They try to control the conversation. But patient listeners allow others to finish. They wait. They give time. Listening also requires curiosity. You must want to understand. You must want to learn. You must want to explore the other person's thoughts. When you listen with curiosity, you ask questions. You ask for clarity. You show interest. Listening helps you avoid misunderstandings. When you listen carefully, you understand the message correctly. You avoid guessing. You avoid assuming. You avoid reacting to things you did not hear clearly. Listening builds trust. When people feel heard, they feel respected. They feel valued. They feel comfortable sharing their thoughts. Listening shows that you care. Listening shows that you are supportive. Think about someone who listens to you. Someone who asks questions. Someone who shows interest. It feels good. It feels comforting. It feels encouraging. You feel understood. You feel safe. You feel important. That is the power of listening. Listening also helps control emotions. When you listen instead of reacting, you calm the situation. If someone is upset, listening helps them express their feelings. Listening helps them release stress. Listening prevents conflict. Listening also helps you think before speaking. When you listen, you gather information. You understand the problem. You understand the person. You understand the context. This helps you respond wisely. Listening makes you smarter. You learn new ideas. You discover new perspectives. You understand different points of view. You become more open-minded. Listening improves memory. When you listen with attention, you remember details, you remember facts, you remember feelings. This makes conversations stronger. Listening is also important in group discussions. When you listen to others, you avoid repeating their points. You build on their ideas. You add value. You contribute meaningfully. Listening also helps solve problems. When you listen, you understand the real issue. You do not just focus on the surface. You find the root. You find solutions. Listening helps leadership. Great leaders listen to their teams. Great leaders listen to their people. Great leaders seek opinions. Great leaders understand needs. Listening makes people want to talk to you. When you listen well, people feel comfortable. They feel understood. They feel respected. They trust you. They return to you. Listening also improves friendships. When friends feel heard, friendships grow. When family members feel heard, relationships strengthen. Listening builds connection. Listening also helps in conflict. When two people disagree, listening helps find common ground. It helps reduce anger. It helps calm emotions. It helps create solutions. Listening also improves communication confidence. When you listen first, you speak better. You respond with clarity. You avoid mistakes. Listening also helps in learning environments. Students who listen well understand lessons. They ask better questions. They perform better. Listening also matters in the workplace. Employers value good listeners. Teams respect good listeners. Customers trust good listeners. Listening is a sign of respect. When you listen, you show that you value the speaker. You show that you care. Listening also teaches empathy. You understand how others feel. You understand their challenges. You understand their experiences. Empathy makes you kind. Empathy makes you patient. Empathy makes you wiser. Listening also helps you avoid assumptions. Assumptions lead to conflict. Assumptions lead to mistakes. Assumptions damage relationships. But when you listen, you learn the truth. Listening also requires focus. You cannot listen well if you are distracted. Put away your phone. Stop multitasking. Look at the person. Notice their tone. Notice their body language. Notice their words. Listening also requires openness. You must allow ideas that are different from yours. You must accept that you do not know everything. You must accept that you can learn. Listening also means asking for clarity. If you do not understand, ask questions. Asking questions shows care. Asking questions avoids confusion. Listening also means reflecting. Reflecting means repeating or summarizing what you heard. It shows you listened. It checks understanding. Listening also means not judging. When you judge, the speaker shuts down. When you judge, communication stops. When you judge, you lose trust. Good listeners do not mock. They do not criticize. They do not laugh at others' thoughts. They encourage. They support. They respect. Listening helps you understand hidden messages. Sometimes people do not express everything clearly. Sometimes their words hide deeper feelings. The careful listener notices these signs. Listening teaches patience. Patience teaches calmness. Calmness teaches wisdom. Wisdom teaches smart communication. Listening also improves thinking speed. When you listen, you gather information. When you gather information, you think faster. When you think faster, you respond smarter. Listening also reduces anxiety. When you focus on the other person, you stop focusing on yourself. You forget fear. You forget doubt. You focus on the conversation. Listening also builds humility. Humility means knowing that others also have knowledge, others also have ideas, others also have experience. Listening protects you from arrogance. Arrogance leads to poor communication. Arrogance blocks learning. Listening prepares you for leadership. Leaders must communicate clearly, but leaders must listen deeply. Listening helps relationships at home, school, work, and community. Listening helps you understand culture. People from different backgrounds may express things differently. Listening allows you to learn. Listening helps in public speaking. When you listen to questions, you answer better. When you listen to the audience, you adjust your tone. Listening also helps with personal growth. When you listen to advice, you improve. When you listen to feedback, you grow. Listening also teaches confidence. When you listen patiently, you feel more control. Listening is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires patience. It requires practice. But with practice, listening becomes natural. It becomes part of who you are. Great communicators listen first. Then they think. Then they speak. Listening is not weakness. Listening is strength. Listening turns noise into knowledge. When you listen, you learn. When you learn, you grow. When you grow, you communicate better. When you communicate better, you succeed. Chapter 5. Choosing the right words. Choosing the right words is a big part of smart communication. Words are powerful. Words can calm a situation or start an argument. Words can make someone trust you or doubt you. Words can simplify ideas or make them confusing. When you learn to choose your words wisely, you speak with clarity. You speak with purpose. You speak with confidence. Many people think fast talking means smart talking. That is wrong. Smart communication is not about speed. It is about precision. It is about precision. It is about picking the right words at the right time. It is about choosing simple words that carry strong meaning. Simple words are not weak. Simple words are clear. Simple words reach everyone. Simple words reduce confusion. When your words are simple, more people understand you. When more people understand you, your message becomes stronger. Your goal is not to sound complicated. Your goal is to be understood. You want your listener to feel your meaning. You want them to follow your ideas without struggle. When you use complicated words, you make them work harder. You make them guess. You make them feel unsure. That weakens communication. The right words create connection. The wrong words create distance. The right words show respect. The wrong words insult. The right words solve problems. The wrong words create more problems. You must understand that your words have weight. Even one sentence can change how a person feels. Even one word can change the direction of a conversation. You must learn to think before speaking. You must learn to pause before reacting. A short pause is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of control. It is a sign of awareness. It means you value your message. It means you want to choose carefully. It means you want to avoid regret. The wrong words often come from emotion. Anger can push you to speak too fast. Fear can push you to protect yourself. Stress can push you to defend. But smart communication requires control. You need to pause. You need to breathe. You need to think. You may feel tempted to speak immediately. You may feel pressure to respond quickly. But quick reactions often lead to mistakes. People misunderstand you. You misunderstand them. You say things you do not mean. You use words that hurt others. When you slow down, you speak wiser. You speak clearer. You speak with intention. You say what you mean. You avoid confusion. You avoid regret. Another part of choosing the right words is understanding your audience. The words you choose for a child are not the same as the words you choose for an adult. The words you choose for a friend are not the same as the words you choose for a teacher or manager. Audience matters, context matters, tone matters. If you speak in fancy language to a person who prefers simple language, they may feel lost. If you speak with slang in a professional setting, you may seem careless. If you use humor in a serious moment, you may seem disrespectful. Right words must match the moment. Right words must match the listener. Right words must match your goal. Another part of smart communication is avoiding filler words. Many people fill their speech with words like and and like, and you know. These filler words appear when your brain is trying to catch up. They make your speech weaker. They make you sound less confident. They can distract the listener. You do not need to remove them completely, but you can reduce them. Replace them with pauses. Replace them with breathing. Replace them with silence. Silence is better than filler. Right words also require clarity. Do not speak in circles. Do not hide your message behind long sentences. Do not use 10 words when 5 are enough. Clear sentences build respect. Clear sentences build trust. Right words are also polite. Politeness is not weakness. It is maturity. It creates goodwill. It protects relationships. You can disagree politely. You can correct someone politely. You can express frustration politely. Politeness does not mean surrender. It means control. It means respect. It means understanding that the person you speak to is human. Your words can lift someone up, or they can bring someone down. If someone shares a concern, your words can support them. If someone feels nervous, your words can comfort them. If someone feels attacked, your words can calm them. Smart communicators know how to use words to heal, not harm. They do not embarrass. They do not insult. They do not mock. They do not belittle. When you choose kind words, you build trust. When you choose harsh words, you break trust. Trust is slow to build and fast to lose. Right words also require awareness of tone. The same sentence can sound rude or gentle depending on tone. A kind sentence in an angry tone becomes harsh. A direct sentence in a calm tone becomes respectful. Tone changes meaning. Right words are supported by right tone. Your tone must match your goal. If you want to lead, tone should be steady. If you want to support, tone should be warm. If you want to explain, tone should be patient. Right words are also supported by timing. Timing can turn good words into bad ones. Speaking too soon can hurt. Speaking too late can miss the moment. Smart communicators wait for the right moment. They speak when the listener is ready. When emotions are high, right words may fail. It is better to delay. It is better to wait until calm returns. Words spoken in heat lose value. Words spoken in calm gain power. Choosing the right words also means staying honest. Dishonest words create confusion. Dishonest words break credibility. Dishonest words destroy respect. You may win a moment with dishonesty, but you lose trust. Without trust, communication crumbles. Right words are honest words. Right words are also specific. Vague words create confusion. Specific words create clarity. Instead of saying soon, say tomorrow. Instead of saying maybe, say I will check and confirm. Specific words reduce doubt. They reduce fear. They reduce misunderstanding. Right words can turn conflict into cooperation. Instead of saying, you are wrong, you can say, let's look at this together. Instead of saying, you always do this, you can say, this situation is difficult. Let's solve it. Words can shape reactions. Words can shape outcomes. Right words also require emotional awareness. You must consider how your words will make someone feel. You must consider their state of mind. You must consider their background. If someone is upset, gentle words can comfort. If someone is confused, simple words can clarify. If someone is angry, calm words can cool the heat. Choosing the right words also means avoiding exaggeration. Words like always and never can make problems feel bigger. They make people defensive. They increase conflict. Smart communication focuses on facts, not exaggeration. Right words can motivate. They can inspire. They can encourage. A few kind words can boost someone's confidence. A few supportive words can help someone try again. Right words can teach. They can explain. They can simplify. They can enlighten. Words are tools for learning. Words are tools for sharing knowledge. Right words can influence. They can persuade. They can lead. People follow communicators who use words effectively. Right words can protect your reputation. The way you speak tells others who you are. It shows your values. It shows your mindset. Careless words create a careless image. Wise words create a wise image. The right words require practice. You must speak often. You must reflect on your speech. You must listen to others. You must learn from mistakes. You must edit your habits. Choosing the right words also means controlling sarcasm. Sarcasm can be hurtful. It can be misunderstood. It can create tension. In close relationships, sarcasm may be common. But in professional or serious settings, sarcasm is risky. Right words avoid insults. Right words avoid name-calling. Right words avoid personal attacks. Smart communicators attack ideas, not people. Choosing the right words also means knowing when to say less. Sometimes the smartest word is silence. Silence can show respect. Silence can show thought. Silence can show thought. Choosing the right words also means knowing when to apologize. Apologies repair damage. Apologies show maturity. Apologies protect relationships. A simple apology can prevent long conflict. Right words can change lives. A teacher can inspire a student with the right words. A leader can influence a group. A friend can comfort another. A parent can guide a child. Words can change your life too. Your words shape how others see you. Your words shape how you see yourself. When you speak positively, you build confidence. When you speak with clarity, you build respect. The right words help you think faster. Because when you know how to express your idea, your mind becomes clear. When your mind is clear, your speech becomes fast and smart. Smart communication is not about speaking more. It is about speaking better. It is about speaking with purpose. It is about speaking with care. Words can lift. Words can break. Words can build. Words can destroy. Smart communication chooses the first path, not the second. When you learn to choose the right words, you gain power. The power to connect. The power to influence. The power to understand. The power to solve. The power to lead. Because communication is not just speaking. It is impact. It is connection. It is understanding. Your words matter. They matter more than you think. And when you choose them wisely, you become a smart communicator. Chapter 6. Mastering Body Language. Body language is a silent form of communication. It speaks without words. It shows feelings. It shows confidence. It shows interest. It shows respect. Many people pay attention only to spoken words, but your body speaks just as loudly, sometimes louder, sometimes clearer. Smart communicators understand body language. They understand that gestures, posture, and facial expressions shape communication. The way you stand affects how people see you. The way you move affects how people feel around you. The way you look at someone affects how they respond. Body language begins with posture. When you stand tall, you look confident. When you sit upright, you look alert. Slouching shows low confidence. Looking down shows insecurity. Good posture makes you feel stronger. It helps you breathe better. It helps you focus. Posture also affects your voice. When you stand straight, your voice becomes clearer. Your breathing becomes smoother. Your tone becomes steady. Poor posture weakens your voice. It restricts your breath. It makes your tone shaky. Eye contact is another major part of body language. Eye contact shows focus, it shows honesty, it shows attention, it shows respect. When you avoid eye contact, you seem unsure. When you avoid eye contact, you may seem untruthful. But eye contact must be balanced. Staring is not good. It creates discomfort. It creates pressure. Smart communicators use gentle, steady eye contact. They look at the listener but do not stare. They shift naturally. Facial expressions also send messages. A smile can show kindness. A serious expression can show focus. A frown can show confusion. Raised eyebrows can show doubt. Your face expresses your feelings even before you speak. Smart communicators control their expressions. They use expressions that match their message. They avoid expressions that give mixed signals. If your words say one thing and your face shows another, people become confused. Gestures also matter. Gestures add meaning to your words. They make your message clearer. They help the listener follow your thoughts. But too many gestures can distract. Too few gestures can make you look stiff. The secret is balance. Hand movements can help express ideas. They can show direction. They can show emphasis. They can show size. But hand movements should be natural. Forced gestures look strange. Uncontrolled gestures look nervous. Body language also shows confidence in silence. When you stay still with calm posture, you show control. When you do not fidget, you show focus. Nervous movements send the wrong message. Foot tapping, pen clicking, hair touching. These actions show anxiety. Body language can build trust. When your posture is open, people feel comfortable. When you face the person speaking, they feel respected. When you nod to show understanding, they feel heard. These simple actions strengthen communication. Body language can also create barriers. Crossing your arms can show resistance. Turning away can show disinterest. Looking at the floor can show insecurity. Smart communicators avoid closed posture. They use open posture, feet planted, chest open, chin up. Your voice also plays a role. Tone is part of body language. A calm tone shows control. A shaky tone shows nervousness. A loud tone can show anger. A soft tone can show fear or humility. Smart communicators adjust tone for the moment. Breathing also impacts body language. Slow breathing shows calmness. Fast breathing shows stress. Deep breathing gives control. Shallow breathing takes control away. Breath is the foundation of communication. Body language changes in different cultures. In some cultures, eye contact is important. In others, eye contact may be seen as disrespectful. In some cultures, personal space is small. In others, personal space is wide. Smart communicators respect cultural differences. Body language must be natural. If you fake it, people notice. Forced confidence looks strange. Fake smiles look uncomfortable. Real body language comes from awareness, not acting. Awareness begins with noticing yourself. When you speak, observe your posture. Observe your hands. Observe your face. Observe your tone. Awareness helps you adjust. Practice helps you improve. Stand in front of a mirror. Practice posture. Practice eye contact. Practice gestures. Practice facial expressions. Practice stillness. Body language also changes with your mindset. When you feel confident, your posture improves. When you believe in your words, your tone becomes steady. When you feel calm, your gestures become smooth. Sometimes body language shows your emotions even when you try to hide them. People notice when you are nervous. They notice when you are upset. But awareness helps you reduce those signs. Smart communicators understand body language in others. They notice nervous signs. They notice confusion. They notice excitement. They notice disappointment. This helps them respond wisely. If someone looks confused, you can slow down. If someone looks upset, you can soften your tone. If someone looks interested, you can build on that interest. Reading body language helps you adapt. Body language also plays a role in leadership. Leaders must show confidence. Leaders must show clarity. Leaders must show calmness. When leaders appear grounded, people trust them. Body language matters in presentations. When you stand tall, people pay attention. When you move with purpose, you keep interest. When you avoid fidgeting, you gain respect. Body language matters in interviews. The interviewer watches how you sit. They watch how you shake hands. They watch how you make eye contact. A confident posture makes a strong impression. Body language matters in group work. When you face the group, you show engagement. When you nod, you show cooperation. When you maintain eye contact, you show interest. Body language matters in personal relationships. A warm smile can comfort someone. A gentle expression can show empathy. A relaxed posture can create safety. Body language can help avoid conflict. Calm gestures can cool tension. Open posture can reduce aggression. Neutral expressions can prevent escalation. Sometimes the best body language is stillness. When you are still, you show confidence. When you control movement, you control attention. Smart communicators use body language to support their words, not fight against them. If your words say yes, but your body says no, the listener believes your body. When your body language matches your message, communication becomes strong. When your body language disagrees, communication becomes weak. Your body can show confidence even when you feel nervous. Standing tall can make you feel stronger. Smiling can make you feel calmer. Controlled breathing can reduce stress. Body language works both ways. Your mind affects your body. Your body affects your mind. When you look confident, others treat you as confident. When others treat you as confident, your confidence grows. Body language also helps you lead conversations. Leaning slightly forward shows interest. Steady eye contact shows sincerity. Calm gestures show control. Body language helps you stay grounded. It reminds you to slow down. It reminds you to breathe. It reminds you to focus. It helps you manage pressure. When your body stays calm, your mind stays clear. Smart communicators study body language. They improve it. They practice it. They rely on it. Because communication is not only verbal, it is physical. It is emotional. It is visual. Your words matter. Your body matters too. Your body language is always speaking. Even when your mouth is not. Even when you are silent. Even when you hesitate. People read your body before they hear your words. They form opinions based on your posture. They judge your confidence based on your eye contact. They sense your emotions based on your facial expressions. This is why mastering body language gives you an advantage. It helps you speak without speaking. It helps you persuade without words. It helps you connect without noise. Body language can open doors. It can earn respect. It can build trust. When you master it, you communicate smarter. You communicate faster. You communicate deeper. And you speak a language that everyone understands. Chapter 7. Handling difficult conversations. Difficult conversations are a part of life. You cannot avoid them forever. You will face disagreement. You will face tension. You will face misunderstanding. You will face moments where emotions run high. In those moments, communication becomes harder. You may feel pressure. You may feel fear. You may feel anger. But learning to handle difficult conversations is one of the most valuable communication skills. It separates strong communicators from weak ones. It helps prevent damage. It protects relationships. It builds respect. A difficult conversation can happen anywhere. At home, at school, at work, with friends, with family, with strangers. You might need to say no. You might need to give feedback. You might need to express hurt feelings. You might need to solve a conflict. These moments test your communication skills. The first step in handling a difficult conversation is controlling emotions. When emotions rise, clear thinking falls. Anger can control you. Fear can silence you. Stress can push you to speak too fast. Pressure can make you defensive. Smart communicators learn to calm themselves. They breathe, they pause, they think. They enter the conversation with calm, not chaos. You do not need to remove emotion. You just need to manage it. You need to control your response. You need to protect clarity. When you stay calm, you think better. You listen better. You speak better. Difficult conversations require respect. You may disagree, but you can disagree respectfully. You may feel hurt, but you can express hurt respectfully. Respect does not mean surrender. Respect does not mean weakness. Respect means maturity. Respectful communication reduces tension. It prevents escalation. It keeps the door open. It protects relationships even when the topic is painful. Another part of handling difficult conversations is listening. You cannot assume you understand the other person. You must listen. You must hear their side. You must try to understand their feelings and reasons. Listening does not mean agreement. Listening means learning. When you listen, you give the other person space. You allow them to speak. You show that their voice matters. This alone can reduce anger. This alone can build trust. In difficult conversations, many people listen only to defend. They listen only to react. They listen only to prepare counter-arguments. That is not real listening. Real listening means hearing with an open mind. It means trying to understand before responding. Difficult conversations also need clarity. You must speak clearly. You must avoid vague language. You must avoid exaggeration. Words like always and never can make the other person feel attacked. Clear language focuses on facts. Clear language focuses on the situation, not the person. You should speak about actions, not character. Instead of saying you are lazy, say the project was not completed on time. Instead of saying you never listen, say I felt unheard during the discussion. When you attack a person's character, they defend. When you describe actions, they listen. Smart communicators also avoid blame. Blame creates resistance. Blame creates anger. Blame closes minds. Blame makes the conversation a battle. Instead, focus on solving. Focus on understanding. Focus on improvement. Sometimes you need to express your feelings. You can do this without attacking. Use I statements instead of you statements. I felt upset when the deadline was missed. I felt ignored when my idea was dismissed. I statements show emotion without attack. They show honesty without aggression. They invite conversation instead of conflict. Another important skill is patience. A difficult conversation takes time. You cannot rush understanding. You cannot rush peace. You cannot rush resolution. Patience helps you stay calm. Patience helps you respond wisely. Silence is also a tool. Silence can give time to think. Silence can reduce tension. Silence can prevent reacting. Silence can cool emotions. Many people fear silence. They rush to fill it. But silence can help both sides process. Sometimes a difficult conversation becomes too heated. In this case, taking a break can help. A short pause is better than a bad outcome. You can say, I need a moment. You can say, can we continue after we calm down? A break is not surrender. A break is strategy. Difficult conversations also require honesty. Dishonesty destroys trust. Dishonesty delays resolution. Dishonesty makes the situation worse. You must speak truth, even if truth is hard. Even if truth is uncomfortable. But honesty must be gentle. Honest words delivered with kindness are powerful. Honest words delivered with anger are painful. The tone matters. Another part of difficult conversations is empathy. Empathy means understanding feelings. You try to see through the other person's eyes. You try to feel what they feel. You try to understand their experience. Empathy does not erase disagreement. Empathy does not mean you agree. Empathy means you care enough to see the human behind the conflict. Empathy softens communication. Empathy builds respect. Empathy reduces anger. Difficult conversations also require boundaries. You can be honest without being rude. You can be calm without being silent. You can be respectful without accepting disrespect. Boundaries protect you. Boundaries protect the conversation. Sometimes you will need to say no. A firm no can be respectful. A clear no can be kind. A no does not have to be cruel. Smart communicators say no without guilt. They say no without anger. They say no with clarity. Sometimes the other person may shout. Sometimes they may blame. Sometimes they may accuse. You cannot control them. You can only control yourself. You can control your words. You can control your tone. You can control your reaction. Walking away is sometimes necessary. If a conversation becomes abusive, disrespectful, or unsafe, you do not need to continue. Ending the conversation is not weakness, it is protection. Smart communicators also know when to ask questions. Questions can open dialogue. Questions can reduce assumptions. Questions can show respect. Questions can reveal hidden feelings. Questions like, what do you mean? What do you need? How can we fix this? What would make you feel heard? Asking questions shifts the conversation from argument to problem solving. Difficult conversations should focus on solutions. Complaining does not create solutions. Blaming does not create solutions. Attacking does not create solutions. Solutions come from cooperation. Sometimes both sides need to compromise. Compromise means you meet in the middle. You give a little, they give a little. You find common ground. Not every conversation will end with agreement. But even without agreement, you can achieve respect. You can achieve understanding. You can achieve peace. Another important skill is recognizing timing. Starting a difficult conversation at the wrong moment makes it harder. For example, when someone is tired, hungry, or busy, they may react poorly. Choosing the right moment increases success. Tone also matters. Calm tone reduces defensiveness. Soft tone reduces anger. Even firm tone can be respectful. Body language matters too. Open posture shows willingness. Eye contact shows sincerity. Nodding shows understanding. Difficult conversations require responsibility. You must own your actions. You must own your mistakes. You must own your part. Blame avoids responsibility. Responsibility invites respect. Sometimes you will apologize. A sincere apology can repair damage. A sincere apology can rebuild trust. A sincere apology can end conflict. Sometimes you will forgive. Forgiveness frees your mind. Forgiveness reduces stress. Forgiveness closes wounds. Handling difficult conversations makes you stronger. It builds confidence. It builds emotional maturity. It builds communication skill. When you face a difficult conversation with calm, you learn. When you face it with respect, you grow. When you face it with patience, you succeed. You cannot control every outcome. You cannot control every emotion. You cannot control every person, but you can control how you communicate. Difficult conversations become easier with practice. The more you face them, the less you fear them. The more you practice, the more skilled you become. Avoiding difficult conversations creates bigger problems. Facing them solves small problems before they grow. Facing them prevents resentment. Strong communicators are not the ones who avoid conflict. They are the ones who manage it. They do not fear disagreement. They do not fear emotion. They do not fear discomfort. They step into the conversation with clarity. They step into it with calmness. They step into it with purpose. Because communication is not only about good times, it is also about handling hard times. When you master difficult conversations, you protect relationships. You build respect. You prevent harm. You become someone people trust. You become someone people listen to. You become someone who can lead, and that is what smart communication truly is. It is strength with respect. It is honesty with kindness. It is clarity with calmness. It is courage with patience. It is speaking when it is hard. It is listening when it is painful. It is thinking when it is stressful. Difficult conversations test you. They shape you. They strengthen you. They prepare you. And when you learn to handle them, you rise as a smarter communicator. Chapter 8. The power of asking questions. Questions are one of the most powerful tools in communication. Many people think communication is about giving answers. They believe strong communicators speak with certainty. They think asking questions makes you look weak or unsure. But the truth is the opposite. Asking questions makes you smarter. Asking questions shows confidence. Asking questions helps you learn faster. It helps you understand others. It helps you avoid mistakes. It helps you build trust. Questions are the key to clarity. Many problems in communication happen because people assume. They assume they understand. They assume they know what the other person wants. They assume they know the meaning, and those assumptions lead to confusion. They lead to conflict. They lead to disappointment. But when you ask questions, you replace assumption with understanding. You replace guessing with knowledge. Questions show interest. When you ask someone a question, you show that you care. You show that you want to understand. You show that their thoughts matter to you. People like to be heard. People like to be understood. When you ask questions, you build connection. Questions help you listen. When you ask a question, you must listen to the answer. You must focus on the speaker. You must give them attention. Asking questions is not only about speaking, it is about listening deeply. Questions help you control conversations. When you feel lost, ask. When you need clarity, ask. When you do not understand, ask. Questions guide communication. Questions open doors. Questions help you steer the conversation in a useful direction. There are many kinds of questions. Some questions help you gather facts. Some questions help you understand feelings. Some questions help you solve problems. Some questions help you explore ideas. But no matter the type, questions reveal information. Questions make you think. When someone asks you a good question, your brain wakes up. You look deeper. You consider new angles. You reflect on your beliefs. Good questions expand thinking. Questions can make difficult conversations easier. Instead of giving orders, ask. Instead of accusing, ask. Instead of assuming guilt, ask. A question can calm anger. It can reduce defensiveness. It can show respect. For example, instead of saying you are wrong, you can ask, why do you think this? Instead of saying you do not understand, you can ask, can you explain this part? Instead of saying you do not believe them, you can ask, what evidence supports this? Questions soften tone. Questions encourage cooperation. Questions open minds. Questions are vital in learning. A student who asks questions learns more. A worker who asks questions performs better. A leader who asks questions makes wiser decisions. Asking questions does not expose weakness. It reveals strength. Children learn by asking questions. Adults learn by asking questions too, but many adults stop asking. They become afraid. They fear judgment. They fear appearing uncertain. They fear looking slow. But curiosity is a strength. Asking questions shows courage. It shows that you want truth, not appearance. Questions help you avoid embarrassment. When you are unsure but pretend to understand, you risk mistakes. You risk miscommunication. You risk failure. When you ask questions, you protect yourself. Questions help you clarify expectations. If you are told to complete a task, ask for details. If you must attend an event, ask for the time. If you must help someone, ask about their needs. Questions remove confusion. They reveal the goal. They guide action. Asking questions is useful in relationships. If a friend is upset, ask how they feel. If a family member is angry, ask what they need. If someone is silent, ask if they want to talk. Questions create space for emotions. They create room for honesty. They build empathy. In leadership, questions are powerful. A leader who asks questions gains insight. A leader who listens to responses earns trust. Leaders who never question make mistakes. Leaders who question learn. Questions help solve problems. When a problem seems big, break it down by asking questions. What caused the problem? Who is involved? What resources exist? What steps can we take? Each question reveals a piece, and the pieces form the solution. Questions inspire creativity. When you ask, "What if?" you open imagination. When you ask, "Why not?" you challenge limits. When you ask, "How?" you search for action. Many inventions began with simple questions. Why does this happen? How can we improve this? What if we do it differently? Questions change history. Questions also help in negotiation. Negotiation is not about winning, it is about understanding. When you ask what they want, what they fear, what they hope for, you find common ground. Questions can also prevent arguments. When you ask, "What do you mean?" you avoid misunderstanding. When you ask, "Can you explain more?" you show patience. When you ask, "How can we fix this?" you focus on solutions. Questions protect relationships. Asking questions also keeps your mind active. It keeps you curious. It keeps you learning. It keeps you humble. Questions help you avoid pride. Pride stops learning. Pride stops listening. Pride stops progress. But curiosity opens growth. When you ask questions, you gain knowledge. You become wiser. You become more thoughtful. You become a better communicator. Questions also help you think faster. When you train your mind to ask questions, your brain becomes more active. It learns to analyze. It learns to evaluate. It learns to search for meaning. Questions help you adapt. When a situation changes, ask what is happening. Ask what is needed. Ask what matters now. Asking questions keeps you flexible. Asking questions shows respect. You respect the speaker enough to understand them. You respect the topic enough to learn it. Questions can reveal hidden motives, hidden emotions, hidden misunderstandings. When you ask why, you uncover truth. In communication, questions prevent arrogance. Arrogance says, "I already know." Curiosity says, "I want to know." The curious communicator grows. Questions can deepen friendships. Friends who ask questions learn more about each other. They understand dreams. They understand fears. They understand habits. They understand value. Questions create closeness. Questions can build confidence. The more you ask, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more confident you become. Confidence grows through knowledge. Questions strengthen teamwork. Teams that ask questions avoid confusion. They share information. They stay aligned. Questions improve listening. Asking a question makes you hear the answer. It forces attention. It strengthens patience. Questions reduce conflict. Many fights begin with misunderstanding. Questions uncover meaning. They reveal intent. Questions can change anger into clarity. Questions also teach emotional intelligence. You learn to read others. You learn to understand tone. You learn to notice body language. Questions teach empathy. Asking questions is also important in personal growth. When you ask, "What did I learn today?" you reflect. When you ask, "How can I improve?" you grow. Questions build awareness. Asking questions does not mean interrupting. It means waiting for the right moment. It means listening first. It means respecting space. Smart communicators ask questions at the right time, not in the middle of a sentence, not during anger, not during panic. Questions must be calm. They must be open. They must be clear. Questions can unlock solutions. They can open minds. They can strengthen communication. They are tools. They are bridges. They are keys. When you ask questions, you learn. When you learn, you grow. When you grow, you communicate smarter. Asking questions is a habit. It takes practice. It takes courage. It takes humility. But once you master it, you gain a skill many people lack. You become a thinker. You become a listener. You become a problem solver. You become a smart communicator. Chapter 9. Communicating with confidence in public. Public speaking scares many people. Even confident people feel nervous when they stand in front of a group. Their heart beats fast. Their hands shake. Their mind rushes. They worry about judgment. They worry about mistakes. They worry about silence. They worry about forgetting words. This fear is common. It is normal. But it can be reduced. And it can be managed. Speaking in public is not magic. It is a skill. Anyone can learn it. Anyone can improve it. Anyone can become better with practice. Confidence in public speaking comes from preparation, awareness, and experience. The first step is accepting fear. Many people try to hide fear. They fight it. They ignore it. But fear grows when ignored. Fear shrinks when accepted. When you understand fear, you can control it. Fear is often based on the unknown. You fear what might happen. You imagine worst outcomes. You imagine embarrassment. You imagine failure. But these fears are thoughts, not facts. They lose power when challenged. Preparation is a powerful tool. The more you prepare, the less you fear. When you know your topic, you feel safe. When you practice your speech, you feel ready. When you organize your ideas, you feel confident. Preparation should focus on understanding, not memorizing. Memorizing every word creates pressure. Forgetting one word can ruin your confidence. But when you understand your message, you can speak naturally. You can adjust. You can explain in different ways. Practice is important. Practice builds comfort. Practice builds familiarity. Practice builds muscle memory. You can practice in front of a mirror. You can practice in front of a mirror. You can practice with friends. You can practice in small groups. You can record yourself. Each practice reduces fear. Each practice increases comfort. Each practice builds confidence. Public speaking also requires strong openings. Thus, strong opening captures attention. It sets the tone. It creates interest. You can start with a story. You can start with a question. You can start with a fact. A strong opening helps you feel confident. When you start well, your fear reduces. When the audience responds, you relax. Body language matters. Stand tall. Keep your shoulders straight. Look at the audience. Move with purpose. Avoid fidgeting. These actions show confidence. Even if you feel nervous inside, confident body language helps you look strong. Eye contact builds connection. It shows sincerity. It shows confidence. It shows respect. You do not need to look at every person. You can move your gaze across the room. Your voice is important. Speak clearly. Speak at a steady pace. Do not rush. Do not whisper. Project your voice, but do not shout. Pauses are powerful. Many speakers fear silence. They rush to fill it. But pauses help you think. Pauses help the audience understand. Pauses show control. Public speaking is not about perfection. It is about connection. The audience does not expect perfection. They expect clarity. They expect sincerity. They expect purpose. If you make a mistake, do not panic. Pause, breathe, continue. Most people will not notice small mistakes. Mistakes are normal. They do not ruin your speech. Focus on your message, not on yourself. Fear grows when you think about how you look. Confidence grows when you think about what you want to say. When you focus on service, not ego. Fear reduces. Understand your audience. Who are they? Why are they here? What do they want to learn? What do they expect? When you speak to their needs, they listen. Keep your language simple. Complicated words confuse. Simple words build understanding. Simple words help you speak faster and clearer. Stories help public speaking. People remember stories more than facts. Stories create emotion. Stories create connection. Stories make your message real. Examples support your ideas. They make concepts clear. They make ideas easier. They help people relate. Another part of public speaking is pacing. Speak too fast, and people miss your message. Speak too slow, and attention drops. Striking balance is key. Breathing helps pacing. Deep breaths slow you down. Deep breaths calm nerves. Deep breaths clear your mind. Confidence also comes from rehearsal. When you rehearse, you predict problems, you fix weak points, you time yourself, you improve flow. Public speaking also requires adaptation. Sometimes the audience is tired. Sometimes the room is noisy. Sometimes technology fails. Sometimes timing changes. Adaptation keeps your confidence steady. Flexibility is strength. Humor can help when used carefully. Humor relaxes the room. Humor builds connection. Humor reduces tension. But humor must be respectful. Confidence in public speaking grows from experience. The first time is hard. The second time is easier. The third time is smoother. With each speech, you grow. You reduce fear. You improve flow. You build strength. Starting small helps. Speak in a small group. Speak in class. Speak in front of friends. Then grow. Speak to larger groups. Speak in formal settings. Confidence grows step by step. Do not compare yourself to others. Some speak naturally. Some speak loudly. Some speak smoothly. You are on your journey. Comparison destroys confidence. Focus on progress. Feedback is useful. Ask trusted people to comment. Ask what was clear. Ask what needs improvement. Feedback helps you grow. Record your speech if possible. Watch it. Notice body language. Notice tone. Notice pace. Notice filler words. Awareness improves performance. Preparation also includes knowing your environment. Know where you stand. Know the stage. Know the room. Familiarity reduces fear. Arrive early. Settle in. Breathe. Look at the audience. Adjust your posture. Use gestures that support your message. Avoid distracting movement. Public speaking requires confidence in silence. Silence can show thought. Silence can show control. The audience wants you to succeed. Most people are supportive. They respect the speaker. They appreciate effort. They admire courage. Remember this. You are not facing enemies. You are facing listeners. Confidence also grows when you shift focus from I might fail to I will share, from they will judge me to I will teach them, from I am scared to I am prepared. Thoughts shape confidence. Words you tell yourself matter. I can do this. I am prepared. I am ready. These thoughts build confidence. If anxiety appears, breathe. If your voice shakes, slow down. If your mind blanks, pause. These reactions are normal. You are not alone. Public speaking teaches courage. It teaches patience. It teaches clarity. It teaches leadership. When you speak in public, you grow. You learn to manage fear. You learn to stay calm. You learn to communicate clearly. Public speaking helps you in school. It helps you in interviews. It helps you in the workplace. It helps you in leadership. It helps you in life. Confidence in public speaking is not only for big speeches, it helps in small things too. Speaking to a group, asking a question in class, giving a presentation, leading a discussion. Public speaking strengthens everyday communication. The more you speak, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the more opportunities you earn. Confidence invites respect. Confidence attracts attention. Confidence inspires trust. Public speaking is a door. If you open it, you grow. If you avoid it, you stay the same. You can choose growth. Confidence is not born. It is built through practice, built through courage, built through mistakes. Confidence comes from trying again and again and again. Some days you will feel strong. Some days you will feel nervous. Both days are part of the journey. Do not fear public speaking. Learn it. Use it. Grow with it. Because when you speak confidently in public, you unlock power. The power to influence. The power to inspire. The power to lead. And that power starts with courage. Courage to stand. Courage to speak. Courage to be heard. That is how you communicate with confidence in public. Chapter 10. Speaking so people want to listen. Some people speak, but no one listens. Others speak, and everyone pays attention. What is the difference? It is not luck. It is not magic. It is not popularity. It is skill. It is technique. It is awareness. Speaking so people want to listen is a powerful part of communication. It helps you share ideas. It helps you teach. It helps you lead. It helps you connect. When you speak, your goal is not just to talk. Your goal is to be heard. Your goal is to be understood. Your goal is to create interest. Your goal is to hold attention. People listen when they care. People listen when they feel respect. People listen when the speaker understands them. People listen when the message is clear. People listen when the speaker sounds confident. People listen when the tone is calm. The first part of speaking so people want to listen is clarity. Clarity means using simple language. Clarity means expressing one main idea at a time. Clarity means avoiding long, confusing sentences. When you speak clearly, people follow your thoughts easily. They do not struggle. They do not guess. They do not get lost. Clarity builds trust. When you speak simply and directly, listeners feel safe. They know you are not trying to confuse them. They know you are not trying to show off. They know you want them to understand. Another part of speaking effectively is tone. Tone changes meaning. You can say the same words in a harsh tone and sound rude. You can say them in a gentle tone and sound kind. You can say them in a flat tone and sound uninterested. A warm tone creates comfort. A steady tone creates respect. A strong tone creates confidence. A calm tone creates peace. Your tone affects the listener's feelings. It shapes how they respond. The pace of your speech matters too. Speaking too fast overwhelms people. Speaking too slow bores them. The right pace keeps attention. It gives space to think. It gives space to process. Pauses support pacing. A pause can highlight a point. A pause can give weight to a sentence. A pause can let the listener breathe. Many speakers fear pauses. They rush to fill silence. But silence used wisely is strength. It shows control. It shows confidence. Volume is important. If you speak too softly, people strain to hear. If you speak too loudly, people feel attacked. Your volume should match the environment. It should match the size of the room. It should match the mood. The next part of speaking so people want to listen is storytelling. People remember stories. People feel stories. Stories turn ideas into images. Stories turn lessons into experiences. Stories connect emotion to message. A strong story can hold attention longer than long explanations. A story can explain a concept in seconds. People relate to stories because they reflect real life. Examples work like stories. They help people understand new ideas. They help people imagine situations. They help people connect with your message. People listen when the speaker respects their time. Respecting time means avoiding unnecessary details. It means staying on topic. It means speaking with purpose. If you speak for a long time without direction, people stop listening. People listen when the message is relevant. If they feel the topic does not matter to them, they lose interest. To hold attention, you must show why the message matters. You must make it useful. You must make it meaningful. Emotion matters too. People listen when they feel. A speech without emotion is dry. It may be correct. It may be clear. But it is forgettable. Emotion adds color. Emotion adds meaning. Emotion makes people care. Emotion can be calm, it can be excitement, it can be concern, it can be hope. You do not need to act, you do not need to exaggerate. You only need to show that the message matters to you. People listen when they trust the speaker. Trust comes from honesty. Trust comes from respect. Trust comes from staying calm. Trust comes from not pretending to know everything. People trust a speaker who admits mistakes. People trust a speaker who listens. People trust a speaker who stays humble. Confidence also matters. If you sound unsure, people doubt you. If you sound confident, people listen. Confidence does not mean arrogance. Confidence means steady voice, confident pace, confident tone. Confidence comes from preparation. Confidence comes from clarity. Confidence comes from understanding your message. Another part of speaking well is reading the room. If the audience looks confused, slow down. If the audience looks bored, change tone. If the audience looks interested, build on that energy. Smart speakers adjust, they adapt, they watch, they listen. You must also remove distractions. Fidgeting distracts. Pacing without purpose distracts. Constant filler words distract. Your message should be the focus, not your nervous habits. Another key is engagement. Engagement means involving the listener. You can ask questions. You can ask for opinions. You can ask for reactions. You can ask for examples. Engagement turns listeners into participants. Participation increases interest. Participation increases focus. Respect creates attention. If you respect the listener, they respect you. If you insult them, they turn away. If you speak down to them, they resist. If you ignore their feelings, they shut down. Listening helps speaking. When you listen to your audience, you understand them. When you understand them, you can speak to their needs. People listen to those who listen to them. Knowledge builds authority. If you know your topic, you speak with strength. If you study your subject, you answer with confidence. But knowledge must be shared simply. Complex answers confuse. Clear answers educate. People listen when they learn. People listen when they gain value. Structure matters. A strong beginning catches attention. A focused middle develops ideas. A clear end leaves impact. Without structure, the message feels messy. Your goal is not to impress. Your goal is to connect. Connection makes people listen. Connection comes from shared experience. Connection comes from empathy. Connection comes from respect. Empathy shows that you understand the listener. You understand their fears. You understand their hopes. You understand their questions. A speaker with empathy gains attention. People listen to passion. Real passion, not fake excitement. Passion shows that you care. Passion gives energy. Passion inspires. Your passion must be controlled. Too much passion can overwhelm. Too little passion can bore. Balance is key. Voice variation helps attention. Speaking in a monotone puts people to sleep. Using small changes in tone keeps attention. It adds life. It adds rhythm. Facial expressions also matter. A blank face sends the wrong message. A smile shows warmth. A focused expression shows seriousness. Body language supports words. Open posture invites listening. Eye contact builds trust. Calm gestures add clarity. When your body language matches your words, the message becomes stronger. People listen to speakers who believe in what they are saying. If you doubt yourself, the audience feels it. If you believe in your words, they feel that too. Belief creates conviction. Conviction creates attention. Another key is avoiding overload. Do not try to say everything at once. Choose your main ideas, support them, clarify them. Too much information confuses. Keep your message clean. Ask yourself, what do I want them to remember? Focus on that. When you speak so people want to listen, you create impact. You influence decisions. You inspire action. You teach lessons. Speaking well is not only for speeches. It helps in daily life. It helps in school discussions. It helps in job interviews. It helps in group meetings. It helps in friendships. It helps in leadership. When people want to listen to you, you gain power. The power to explain, the power to persuade, the power to motivate. This power is earned. It is earned through clarity, through respect, through tone, through structure, through passion, through listening. You do not need to be loud. You do not need to be dramatic. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be clear. You need to be sincere. You need to be human. People listen to real people. If your message matters to you, it will matter to them. If you speak with respect, you will earn respect. If you speak with clarity, you will gain understanding. If you speak with confidence, you will gain attention. Speaking so, people want to listen, is not a gift. It is a skill you can learn, a skill you can practice, a skill you can master. And once you master it, your voice becomes stronger, your ideas become louder, your impact becomes greater. Because a powerful voice is not one that shouts, it is one that people choose to hear. Chapter 11. Turning conflict into understanding. Conflict is a natural part of communication. It happens when people disagree. It happens when emotions rise. It happens when goals clash. It happens when values differ. You cannot avoid conflict forever. You will face it at home, at school, at work, and in friendships. Many people think conflict is bad. They think conflict must be stopped. They think conflict means anger or disrespect. But conflict can be useful. Conflict can lead to growth. Conflict can lead to understanding. Conflict can strengthen relationships. The key is not to avoid conflict, but to manage it. When conflict begins, emotions rise. Your heart may beat faster. Your breathing may change. Your thoughts may rush. You may feel defensive. You may feel angry. You may feel hurt. You may feel misunderstood. These reactions are normal, but reacting without thinking can make conflict worse. It can turn a small problem into a big problem. It can turn confusion into insult. It can turn stress into damage. The first step in handling conflict is staying calm. Calm does not mean silent. Calm does not mean passive. Calm means controlled. Calm means thoughtful. Calm means steady. When you stay calm, you think better. You listen better. You speak better. You manage the situation instead of letting the situation manage you. Listening during conflict is important. When you feel attacked, you may want to defend. You may want to interrupt. You may want to explain immediately. But listening helps you understand what the other person feels. It helps you understand why the conflict started. It helps you understand what the other person wants. Without listening, conflict becomes a battle of voices. With listening, conflict becomes a search for clarity. Listening does not mean agreement. You can listen and disagree. You can listen and stand firm. But you listen first to understand. When you listen, the other person feels respected. They feel heard. They feel valued. This alone can reduce tension. Understanding emotions is another part of turning conflict into understanding. Conflict is rarely only about facts. It is often about feelings. Someone may feel ignored. Someone may feel disrespected. Someone may feel excluded. Someone may feel judged. When you see the emotion behind the issue, you can respond more wisely. For example, if someone shouts, they may not be angry at you. They may be stressed. They may be scared. They may feel helpless. Understanding emotion helps you respond with empathy instead of anger. Empathy does not mean giving up. Empathy means seeing the human behind the conflict. Empathy means asking yourself, how would I feel in this situation? Empathy softens tone. Empathy builds bridges. Another important part of managing conflict is separating the person from the problem. The problem could be a misunderstanding. The problem could be miscommunication. The problem could be unmet expectations. But the person is still a person. When you attack the person, conflict grows. When you attack the problem, conflict shrinks. Speaking with clarity helps in conflict. Vague statements create confusion. Harsh statements create anger. Clear statements create direction. Instead of saying you never help, say I felt alone in finishing this task. Instead of saying you are always rude, say the tone used yesterday hurt my feelings. Clear words reduce blame. Clear words open conversation. Respect matters. Even during conflict, respect should remain. Respect does not mean agreement. Respect means acknowledging the other person's right to speak. Respect means refusing to insult. Respect means avoiding name-calling. Respect protects communication. Disrespect destroys it. Many conflicts grow because people speak while angry. They use harsh words, they exaggerate, they make assumptions, they guess motives, they attack character. These things cause long-term damage. Even if the conflict ends, the words remain. People remember insults. People remember disrespect. This is why pauses matter. When emotions rise, a pause protects you. It prevents saying something you later regret. A pause is not weakness. A pause is wisdom. A pause creates space for a better response. Asking questions helps during conflict. When you ask what happened, you show interest. When you ask how the person feels, you show empathy. When you ask what they want, you show willingness to solve. Questions turn shouting into conversation. Questions turn confusion into clarity. Blame is the fuel of conflict. Blame makes the other person defensive. Blame shifts responsibility away from yourself. Blame closes hearts. Instead of blame, use responsibility. Take ownership of your part. Even small ownership shows maturity. It opens the door for shared responsibility. Sometimes conflict is based on misunderstanding. Words can be misunderstood. Tone can be misunderstood. Intentions can be misunderstood. When you clarify, conflict weakens. When you explain calmly, conflict reduces. Sometimes conflict requires compromise. Compromise is not defeat. Compromise is balance. Compromise means both sides gain something. Both sides give something. Compromise protects relationship. Sometimes conflict cannot be solved immediately. Sometimes emotions are too strong. Sometimes the moment is wrong. Sometimes people need space. In those cases, a break is wise. A break gives time to cool. Time helps understanding. Time reduces anger. Not every conflict will end in agreement. Agreement is ideal, but not required. Sometimes understanding is enough. Sometimes respect is enough. Sometimes peace is enough. Conflict also teaches communication. It teaches patience. It teaches empathy. It teaches self-control. It teaches active listening. It teaches clarity. It teaches respect. You learn more about yourself through conflict. You learn your triggers. You learn your weaknesses. You learn your strength. You learn how you react under pressure. Conflict can strengthen relationships when handled well. When two people overcome conflict, trust grows. Understanding deepens. Connection becomes stronger. But conflict handled poorly can destroy relationships. It can break trust. It can create fear. It can leave lasting wounds. This is why communication is important. Conflict is not the enemy. Poor communication is the enemy. The goal is not to win. The goal is to understand. The goal is not to silence. The goal is to express. The goal is not to dominate. The goal is to cooperate. Winning an argument may feel satisfying in the moment, but losing respect is not victory. Losing trust is not victory. Losing connection is not victory. Strong communicators know this. They aim for solutions, not victories. They aim for peace, not dominance. Turning conflict into understanding requires practice. It requires patience. It requires courage. It requires awareness. Not everyone will meet you halfway. Some people enjoy conflict. Some people refuse to listen. Some people blame others for everything. You cannot control them, but you can control how you respond. You can stay calm, you can stay respectful, you can stay clear, you can stay patient, and in doing so, you protect yourself. You protect your peace. You protect your integrity. In conflict, pride is dangerous. Pride refuses to listen. Pride refuses to change. Pride refuses to apologize. Pride turns small issues into big fights. Humility helps communication. Humility allows listening. Humility allows apology. Humility allows change. Conflict also requires boundaries. You can be respectful without accepting disrespect. You can be calm without accepting insults. You can be patient without tolerating abuse. Walking away is sometimes the only healthy choice. Ending the conversation is sometimes the safest option. Avoiding abuse is not weakness. It is wisdom. Conflict can be emotional. It can be painful. It can feel unfair. But conflict can also be transformational. It can reveal truth. It can teach lessons. It can heal misunderstandings. And when you use communication skills to turn conflict into understanding, you show maturity, you show strength, you show leadership. You become someone people respect. You become someone people trust. You become someone people listen to. Because anyone can shout. Anyone can blame. Anyone can react. But it takes skill to stay calm. It takes strength to listen. It takes courage to be respectful. It takes wisdom to seek understanding. That is how strong communicators handle conflict. They use communication not to fight, but to build. Not to hurt, but to heal. Not to divide, but to connect. When you turn conflict into understanding, you turn confusion into clarity. You turn tension into cooperation. You turn anger into respect. And you become a communicator with real power. Chapter 12, Becoming a Smart Communicator Every Day. Smart communication is not something you learn in one moment. It is not a single lesson. It is not a talent that appears overnight. It is a habit. It is a skill that grows with daily practice. It is a mindset you carry into every conversation. It shapes the way you speak, listen, think, and respond. It shapes the way you interact with the world. Every day gives you a chance to improve. Every conversation is a small lesson. Every mistake is guidance. Every success is motivation. You do not need a stage or a microphone to work on communication. You do not need a crowd. You can practice anywhere. You can practice with friends. You can practice at home. You can practice at school. You can practice at work. Smart communication starts with awareness. Awareness of your tone. Awareness of your words. Awareness of your body language. Awareness of your reactions. Awareness of your emotion. Awareness helps you notice what you are doing. Awareness helps you choose better actions. When you speak without awareness, you react. When you speak with awareness, you respond. Smart communication requires listening. Not just hearing sounds, listening to understand, listening with attention, listening with patience, listening with empathy. Good listeners learn more. Good listeners avoid misunderstanding. Good listeners build stronger relationships. Smart communication requires respect. Respect for others. Respect for their ideas. Respect for their feelings. Respect does not mean agreement. It means understanding that every voice matters. It means treating people as human. It means communicating without insults or judgment. Smart communication requires clarity. Clear words, clear purpose, clear tone, clear structure. Confusing communication creates confusion. Clear communication creates understanding. Smart communication requires confidence. Confidence in your voice. Confidence in your thoughts. Confidence in your ability to express yourself. Confidence grows through practice. Confidence grows through preparation. Smart communication requires calmness. Calmness during conflict. Calmness when under pressure. Calmness when emotions rise. Calmness shows control. Calmness protects clarity. Calmness reduces mistakes. Smart communication requires honesty. Honest words build trust. Honest words build credibility. Honest words build respect. Dishonesty destroys communication. Dishonesty breaks relationships. Dishonesty weakens trust. Smart communication requires simplicity. Simple words reach more people. Simple sentences reduce confusion. Simple language builds connection. Complexity is not intelligence. Clarity is. Daily habits support smart communication. One habit is reading. Reading exposes you to new words, new ideas, new perspectives. Another habit is reflection. Thinking about your conversations. Asking yourself what worked, what failed, what could improve. Another habit is asking questions. Questions show curiosity. Questions build understanding. Questions prevent confusion. Another habit is slowing down. Slow speech helps clarity. Slow breathing helps calm. Slow thinking helps control. Another habit is practicing empathy. Trying to understand others. Trying to see their feelings. Trying to imagine their experiences. Smart communication also requires patience. Patience with yourself. Patience with others. Patience with the process. No one becomes a great communicator instantly. Growth takes time. Many people assume communication skill is fixed. They think some people are naturally gifted. They think others are doomed to struggle. But communication is learned. It is developed. It is built. You can learn. You can improve. You can grow. Small steps matter. Speaking up once. Asking a question. Expressing a worry. Listening without interrupting. Controlling tone. Adjusting pace. These tiny actions create progress. Progress compounds. Daily effort adds up. Slowly you notice change. Slowly you feel more comfortable. Slowly you communicate better. Smart communication improves your relationships with parents, with friends, with teachers, with coworkers, with partners, with strangers. Smart communication opens opportunities. It helps in interviews. It helps in teamwork. It helps in leadership roles. It helps in problem solving. It helps in conflict management. People trust smart communicators. People follow them. People respect them. People listen to them. Because communication is more than words. Communication is influence. Communication is understanding. Communication is connection. Smart communication helps you stand out in school, in work, in society. Many people can talk, few can communicate well. Smart communication also helps you understand yourself. You learn your values, you learn your strengths, you learn your fears, you learn your reactions. Self-understanding makes communication easier. When you know yourself, you speak with honesty, you speak with confidence, you speak with awareness. Smart communication requires humility. Humility allows you to learn. Humility allows you to grow. Humility allows you to change. Smart communication requires courage. Courage to speak when afraid. Courage to listen when criticized. Courage to apologize. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action, despite fear. Smart communication helps during conflict. It turns disagreement into dialogue. It turns tension into understanding. It turns anger into respect. Smart communication helps during success. It turns excitement into gratitude. It turns ambition into leadership. It turns ideas into action. Smart communication helps you make friends. It helps you build trust. It helps you resolve problems. It helps you express needs. Smart communication protects mental health. Holding emotions inside causes stress. Expressing them clearly reduces stress. Expressing them respectfully protects relationships. Smart communication teaches emotional control. It teaches patience. It teaches awareness. Smart communication also reduces loneliness. It builds connection. It builds understanding. It builds support. Smart communication requires observation. Observing others, observing tone, observing body language, observing reactions. Through observation you learn patterns, you notice what works, you notice what fails, you learn from example. Smart communication also requires adaptation. Adapting to different people, adapting to different situations, adapting to different cultures. What works with one person may not work with another. What works in one place may not work elsewhere. Flexibility makes communication effective. Smart communication requires purpose. Purpose behind your words. Purpose behind your message. Purpose behind your tone. Speaking without purpose leads to confusion. Speaking with purpose leads to impact. Impact is the goal. You want your words to matter. You want your ideas to spread. You want your thoughts to be heard. You gain impact through clarity, respect, confidence, and empathy. Smart communication does not mean speaking more. It means speaking better. It does not mean always being right. It means being thoughtful. It does not mean controlling others. It means connecting with them. Smart communication creates peace. It creates cooperation. It creates trust. It shapes leadership. It shapes teamwork. It shapes friendships. It shapes your future. Every day gives you a chance to improve. Every moment gives you a chance to practice. Every mistake gives you a chance to learn. You do not need to wait. You can begin today. You can listen more. You can speak clearly. You can stay calm. You can ask questions. You can show empathy. You can choose respect. You can turn conflict into understanding. You can turn silence into expression. You can turn fear into confidence. Smart communication is a lifelong skill, and every conversation is a new step forward. When you communicate with awareness, you connect. When you communicate with clarity, you persuade. When you communicate with confidence, you lead. When you communicate with empathy, you build trust. This is how you become a smart communicator. Not in one day, not in one speech, but every day. With practice, with patience, with courage, and with the belief that your voice matters, because it does.